So this video, I'm going to be tackling my top 5 decks I wish I could master. There are certain decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I feel like are just destined not for me. These decks are decks that I feel like are interesting, and I'm very, like, I want to get better with. I would love to master these decks, but I'm just not good with them. And I kind of wish that I was, because there's always like a few decks where you're like, oh, I like it. It's not my thing. It's just not going well with me. It's not giving me what I want, or maybe I'm just not playing it correctly. I just look at these 5 decks and I look at them and I say, I wish I was good with yous. So if you guys want to see more videos from me on my normal Thursdays, like the video, 400 likes would be the goal. I'm going to kick to the side. We're going to have the cards on the side, and we're going to be tackling the top 5 decks I wish I could master. The Luna Lights I've tested and I tried them and I said they look interesting, and I'm very into, like, most, fusion based decks. I find that mechanic one of my more favorite mechanics. So for me, it's like I looked at Luna Lights and I'm like, I like anything really to do with the moon. They had interesting looks. I said, you know what? I want to use them. I face Luna Lights and I get OTK'd in one turn. When I use Luna Lights, I get OTK'd in one turn. There's something off with me in that deck. I try to, like, bring out the full potential of it, and I can't. I just simply can't. That deck, it's just like, I feel like all these 5 decks in this video I could probably master if I put in the time and dedication into them. I just think they're hard to master. I like Luna Lights. I would like to use Luna Lights. Right now, however, I'm using Prank Kids. I have my fusion-based deck. I even would pick up Fluffles again. So the chances of me wanting to play Luna Lights right now are slim, but I do admire them from afar. For me, I had the loss of Cardians, bless my heart, which is another deck to master. That's a hard deck to master, but I did master it. Now, you see, for Super Heavy Samurais, I look at them and I'm like, for me, the one thing with me, outside of me saying my typical thing, like, oh, I love combo-based decks, for me, another thing that I really, really like is an unorthodox, interesting, unique play style. They had that. They were like, listen, we can go into defense mode, we can still attack you with our defense points. That's interesting. We don't have a lot of archetypes that are very unique and very special. And I look at them and I'm like, you're special. You could take opponents like shit. You could, like, synchro with other people's monsters. You could, you don't play any spells or traps. You go, what? I'm like, I look at them and I'm like, I'm so intrigued. And then I remembered I said, all right, I don't have Cardians. Let me play y'all. I was like, I'm interested in the synchro-based deck right now, so let's try you guys out. I tried it, and I crashed and fucking burned. I was like, wow, it's not the deck. I'm just really bad with y'all. And I'm like, yeah, that's not like me. I don't want to brag, but I have a pretty good win rate underneath my belt, and it's a hefty loss. Hefty losses. So yeah, Super Heavy Samurais, I look at them and I'm like, ooh, and then I'm like, nah, because it's like they're just not good for me. Now around this time frame, me and my friend Harry were like, he was playing Subterrace, and I was like, ooh, that looks cool. I mean, they all look kind of interesting. They kind of remind me of Burning Abyss, which is another deck hard to master. And I was like, oh, I really am interested in Subterrace. I remember trying them, and I was like, you know what it was? It wasn't that I was doing bad with them. They were just very, very complicated. And it shouldn't be so complicated in my head, because I'm like, all you have to do is summon these big monsters in defense mode and flip them, and then flip them back. What's so hard to understand? But yet, it was not going in the perfect synergy as Harry's was. What was I doing wrong? It's like, that's the way I look at it. It's like, for me, it's like everything has to go in a perfect circle. Once I see something like a smudge or something like not ticking the way it should be ticking, then I start losing it. I'm just like, no, 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 no. What about that? What about that? That looked perfect. Why ain't this perfect? Nope. And then I end up ditching the deck. But I looked at Subterras and I like them. And I honestly, that's a deck that nobody really knows that I like. I like Subterras. But I never got to use them good. I never got to master that archetype. And I mean, it's a very underrated archetype, which is, yet again, my domain. And I kind of feel like I wanted to give that deck a shot. And I'm just like, maybe I will go. Making this video, I kind of want to play Subterra's again. Boy, do I have a fucking love-hate with this archetype. I love Yang Zings. I remember when they first came out, I was like, oh, oh, oh. It's very rare where I like a dragon archetype themed deck. I know they're worms, but that deck was a deck that I really liked. They looked amazing. I loved that deck. However, I crash and burn with them. And it's not hard to get either. They're a easy deck, in my opinion. They're floaters, and they just sit there, and they get killed. And yet you, Anthony, Kisame Unlimited, cannot master the fucking concept of floaters. And it's like, I use that deck, and I suck so badly. And I can't fathom how. I'm like, the deck is not rocket science. Number one on this list is fucking rocket science, but that deck isn't. And I'm not good with it. And it's just sad, because it's like, for me, it's like, what I would love to do, I told this to my friend, is I would love to have the 6-Bit Pain Challenge be a representation of my evolution in Yu-Gi-Oh! Of each mechanic into all those slots, like a fusion, synchro, pendulum, XYZ, standard, regardless of anything. I'm just showing multiple sides of mechanics, multiple engines, like link-based decks. Like, I wanted to do something like that because to represent each side. Synchros, that would have been a great side. That or Guardians. And for me, it's like, I look at that deck and I'm like, I wish I knew how to quit you. Because it's like, I like them, but I suck with them. I lost to Spidey with them, and Spidey's a fucking garbage mess with archetypes. He plays fucking Nibble and Obnoxious Celtic Guardian and fucking random cards that don't fit any kind of synergy, and I lost to him. I lost to that with Yang fucking Zings. That should explain now fucking shitty like I felt. That's what, ever since I lost to Spidey with Yang Zings, I put that deck down and I said to myself, I'm very disappointed in you. If the duel went back and forth, that's one thing, but y'all just sat there and got fucked by a scrub. That archetype, I admire to the fullest degree. But not only do I respect that archetype as a whole, I respect every duelist that could play that deck and run it in a perfect circle and know it like the back of their hand. DDD's is, in my opinion, one of the hardest decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! To master. That deck is really powerful and really good, but, I mean, there are better archetypes and better decks out there than DDD's, but that deck has a lot of potential and the ability to summon all these unique combos. All these, the combo-based player is a DDD player. I look at that and I'm like, I admire them because that deck is very hard to pick up. That deck is not for a beginner. That deck is really, really... That deck is not a one-trick pony. That deck could bring out so much in fucking one turn, and it could literally overwhelm you so fast. Negate, powerful monsters, synergy, consistency, perfect. However, for me, I play DDDs when in a more simpler time. Now that deck has much more to offer and much more it can bring out. And for me, I tried doing it, and I could bring out moves, but I don't feel like it's the right moves. I feel like what my board should look like in the end isn't what I'm getting. And I feel like there's something missing. Like, I feel like that deck I need to, like, sit down and, like, take, like, a DDD course, or, like, sit down and, like, have a teacher explain it to me and be like, this is how DDDs play. You have to do this, and to that, to summon this, to get rid of this, to summon that again, to do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right. I'm, like, writing my notes. I'm like, because that deck, if I could master it, point fucking blank, that deck would be one of my mains. Because for me, it's like, I admire that deck. And same thing with Yang Zings. Both of those arc to ends, all Subterrors, those three. Like, Lunalights, Super Heavy Samurais, I like them, they're just not for me. And the DDDs, Yang Zings, and Subterrors, I wish I could play them. Because all three of those archetypes, I feel like have so much to offer and are so cool, and I'm just not good with them. So that's pretty much my video for this week. I really wanted to tackle this because these archetypes I really like, and I just suck with them. And I feel like you guys probably feel the same way with certain decks where you probably would be good with them, you don't get it. Like, honestly, I feel like out of the decks that I play, I feel like Guardians and Prank Kids are so hard to master. Those decks are not easy or for beginners either. But, that was my video for this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Like the video. If you haven't already, comment below about the decks you feel, or maybe you guys can give me some tips and be like, actually, Kusami, those decks are not so hard. Maybe you just need to do this, this, this. And, maybe your comment or your explanation may change how I am. And maybe I'll be playing one of these decks. You could be the guiding light. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Happy holidays. And, yeah. See ya.